Hi everyone, hope you all are good. We are here for grade 9 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab, scroll down to grade 9 math, and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter functions, linear, quadratic, and exponential. Please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. And we are on the chapter functions, linear, quadratic, and exponential. Let's just start with the first lesson, that is exponential functions over unit intervals. How does h of t, 3 exponent t, change over the interval from t equals 2 to t equals 3? So you are given the function that is h of t equals 3 exponent t, right? You have to see how the function changes over the time interval t equal to t equal 3, right? So we are given h of t equals 3 exponent t. Evaluate it for h equals to t equals to, sorry. Replace the t with 2, that is 3 square, that is 9. Now, changes from t equal to t equal 3, t equal 3 is evaluated for, that is 3 times 3 is 9 and 9 times 3 is 27. You have to see how it is changing from t equal to t equal 3. So you have to divide h of 3 divided by h of 2, because earlier that was t equals 2 and it changed to t equals 3. You need to calculate the change. So 27 divided by 9 is 3. That means h of t increases by a factor of 3. So the value is increasing by the factor of 3. Let's just start with the test questions. Basically, the original function is h of 2, right? So 3 times 9 is 27. So that's why that is 3 times h of 2, right? 3 times 9 is 27. So that's why the function is increasing by a factor of 3. Let's just start with the test questions. How does the function f of 2 exponent t change over the interval from t equals 5 to t equals 6? Okay, so that is, the function is f of t 2 exponent t. You need to evaluate it from t equals 5. So f of 5, 2 exponent 5, that is 32, I think. You need to multiply 2 5 times, 2 times, 2 times, 2 times, 2 times 2. Yes, that is 32. Then f of 6, that is 2 exponent 6. So then 32 times 2 is 64, that is 64. You need to see how it is changing, so you have to divide f of 6 divided by f of 5. F of 6 is 64 divided by 2. So 64 divided by 2 is 32. 32 times 2 is 64, right? So that is 2 times f of 5 equals f of 6, right? Because 2 times 32 is 64. So that means the function is increasing by f, but you are not given with the correct option. The correct option is the function is increases by factor of 2. Hold on, let me just see the 100% large whole not. Okay, you can, okay, we can write the value in the percentage form also, right? So yes, that would double, that is doubled by the t of 6 is doubled than to t by 5. That means the function is increased by 100%, right? Option number 3 is the correct option. F of t increases by 100%. How does f of x equals 9 exponent x change over the interval from x equals 5 to x equals 6? So you have to evaluate it for x equals 5, f of x equals 9 exponent, f of 9 exponent x. So f of 5, that is 9 exponent 5, right? So 9 exponent 5 is 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. That is 59,049. Then you have f of 6, that is 9 exponent 6. So let's just multiply 9 6 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 531,441. Now let's just divide by f of 6 divided by f of 5. So that is 531,441 divided by 59049. Let me just do it. 531,441 divided by 59049. That equals 9. That equals 9. So that is increasing by a factor of 9, but you can rewrite in the percentage form. You can write 9 as 1 plus 8. So 1 plus 800 over 100 times 5. So that means the function is increasing by 800%. Option number 3 is the correct option. Got it? The function is increasing by a factor of 800. How does f of x equals 10 exponent x over the interval from x equals 4 to x equals 5? F of x increases by a factor of 10. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is identify linear, quadratic, and exponential functions from graphs. Let's just start with the lesson. What type of function does the graph show? That is exponential function. The graph like this that increases so fast, that is the graph of the exponential function, right? Just look at the next graph. What type of function does the graph show? That is the linear equation. That's a straight line. So the straight line is always the graph for the linear function. What type of function does the graph show? That is the quadratic function. The graph that is in the form of u, that is the quadratic function. Let's just start with the test questions. What type of function does this graph show? That is the linear function. The straight line is always the graph for the linear function. Option number 3 is the correct option. What type of function does the graph show? That is the exponential function. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is exponential. What type of the function does the graph show? That is the graph of the quadratic function. Option number 2 is the correct option. What type of function does the graph show? That is the graph of the exponential function. Option number 1 is the correct option. What type of function does the graph show? That is a linear function. Option number 3 is the correct option. The straight line is always a function for the graph for the linear function. What type of function does the graph show? That is the quadratic function. Option number 3 is the correct option. What type of function does the graph show? That is the exponential function. Option number 1 is the correct option. What type of function does the graph show? That is the exponential function. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself. Later today, let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is linear functions over unit intervals. How does the function f of x change over the interval from x equals 2 to x equals 3? So x equal to, here is x equal to. Basically, you need to see the change from x equals to here is x equal to when x equals to y equals 6. And when x equals 3, let's just make the lines. And then x equals 3. So the function is increasing from x equals to x equals 3 because when x equals to y equals 6 and when x equals 4, y equals 9. So that means f of x increases by 3. Let's just start with the test questions. How does h of x changes over the interval from x equals 1 to x equals 2? Okay, x equals 1. So when x equals 1, y equals 4. When x equals 2, y equals 8. That is increasing by factor of 4. Option number 3 is the correct option. H of x increases by a factor of 4. The last option is the correct option. H of x increases by a factor of 4. H of x increases by 4. Option number 2 is the correct option. How does f of x change over the interval from x equals 2 to x equals 3? X equals 2 and x equals 3, right? X equals 2, y equals 6. X equals 3, y equals 9. So that means the function is increasing by 200%. You can write the answer in percentage form, right? How 200%? You can write 3 as 1 plus 2. That is increased by 200%. Option number 2 is the correct option. I just don't know. Sometimes they The correct option is the one that increases by a percentage and sometimes the other one. So basically, f of x increases by 3. How does g of x changes over the interval from x equals 4 to x equals 5? X equals 4 and x equals 5. So when x equals 4, y equals 8. So when x equals 5, y equals 10. So the correct option is, okay, let's just see the options, then we'll decide. That is, g of x increases by 2. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is describe linear and exponential growth and decay. H of t changes over the interval t equals 8 to t equals 10. So let's just see how it is increasing. So h equals t equals 8. Here is t equals 8. And here is t equals 10. Okay, so when h equals 8, h of t is 8. When h equals 10, h of t is 10. So that means the function increases by 2. Let's just start with the test questions. How does g of x change over the interval from x equals 6 to x equals 9? X equals 6. So when x equals 6, g of x equals 6. When x equals 9, g of x equals 9. So that means g of x increases by 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. G of x increases by 3. How does f of t change over the interval t equals 2 to t equals 4? So t equals 2, f of t is 4. When t equals 4, f of t is 8. So the function is increasing by the factor of increases by 2. F of t increases by 2 option. The oh, that is increasing by 4. 4 times. That increases by 4, sorry. How does g of t change over the interval t equals 1 to t equals 3? So when t equals 1, when t equals 1, g of t is 3. When t equals 3, g of t is 9. The function g of t is increases by 6. Option number 1 is the correct option. How does g of t change over the interval from t equals 4 to t equals 7? The correct option is when t equals 4, g of t is 4. When t equals 7, g of t is 7. The function is increases. The function increases by 3. Option number, the last option is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 9 math. We were working on grade 9 math. The chapter we were working on is functions, linear, quadratic, and exponential. The lessons we have covered today are exponential functions over unit intervals, identify linear, quadratic, and exponential functions from graph, linear functions over unit intervals, and describe linear and exponential growth and decay. So please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you, or either you can write down the box. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. Any questions? Okay, then that's all for today. See you in the next